Hey guys, welcome to Lunch and Learn today. We are going to be leaning into discussing our roadmap and discussing retention and all things like natural next steps. Okay. Um, as you guys have seen in the leaders thread, and I'm going to pull it up just to give an example. Um, and I'd be interested after we're all done. I want to know how you feel about this. But those kind of quick little call to action bullet points that we've had about what we need to be working on in that day. If you guys like that, I'd love to incorporate that every morning. I'd love to offer that because I feel like, but I don't, I'm gonna, anyway. Um, yeah, like the call to action. So what are we doing today? What are we working on? That kind of a thing. And then having overarching things that we want to work on that are just really, really important. And that kind of is where the roadmap and our retention piece comes in. So here is the thing. We're in the middle of a month that is going to be absolutely insane, right? We're coming out of the fog of our leaders retreat. We're revived. We're excited. If you weren't there, you're looking at like, I'm never doing, this is not happening again. Like we're all using that experience in a particular way. So I want us to keep our personal momentum and I want us to really lean in, and only you can look back at the way that your business has been and say, was retention tough for me? Do I struggle with how to retain? And guys, I'm not talking about doing a product check-in. Part that is necessary, right? Part of this, and I've kind of said this on a multitude of different ways this year, but us supporting people is just a natural next step invitation. Okay. And so, I want you to really think about, I'm going to, and obviously we know that we support different levels, right? So if I'm, if I'm reaching out or speaking to Dawn, right? Dawn is not my level one, but I get an opportunity to support her by just some kind of an invitation or a challenge. And I want you to understand that no matter what the level somebody is to you, if you just thought that your only job, your job in this is natural next step invitations for everybody, challenges, or like for example, I just had a coaching call with Amanda. Well, I sponsor Amanda, so we're working on some things that she's natural next stepping, and so I invite her to, hey, let's look at a different way to support customers. Let's look at this that we're, and I'll share this with you in a second. But just, I'm just inviting her to try new things. I mean, I'm inviting her to, just to, take a next step in the journey. And sometimes it can look like, guys, when I say invitations, I want you to understand the entire thing we do are invitations. I want you to really understand that all we're doing are continuous invitations. And we've got to fall in love with the process of this. We've got to fall in love with the process of loving people well. And there are going to be people on your team that go really, really fast. And then there are going to be people on your team that just they have their own struggles that they have to work through. You can only do so much as a coach. And really, you don't have a lot. We're as a coach, we want to look at ourselves as like, investigators, problem solvers, but we're not the doers of fixing the problem. Abandon the thought that you need to do that, right? But a lot of retention, especially with our leadership, is these natural next step invitations, right? So if I don't know. Like it's different based on the different on the level, but sometimes it can look like when you're just checking on a VIP, inviting them, right? Maybe they haven't done the ad one because we weren't focused on it, right? So now we're going to start to have that conversation, and we're going to say something like, I didn't realize when you started how important an accountability partner is. And our corporate has given us research that it's 80% more likely for you to, feel great on the products, have a better experience, and for that person to have a great experience by partnering with you. You're 80% more successful with doing it. And that's where I did not know that. And so I want us to think about one person right now that we can talk to about getting on board with you as your accountability partner. And the thing that's great is that you're going to earn about 40 or $50 back. So they're going to have you as their buddy. And you're going to make a little bit of money back. You've been a really regular and loyal customer, and I want to help you recoup some of those funds. And so what it looks like is this. I think a lot of times we don't have those conversations because we don't have the belief of how important it is. And I'm here to tell you, build your belief about why they need an accountability partner. Period. End of story. If you believed that it was important, you would be freaking offering it, right? And obviously this is a brand new concept. I don't want anyone to think I'm like, you haven't been doing this. Well, same. Like, yeah, it's nothing like that. It's like we know better, we do better. And so we get the opportunity to go back to every customer. And I believe my belief that I carry is even the ones that have fallen off the products, going to them and saying, I screwed up a little bit. I feel like you weren't as successful because I did not know that if we would have started you with a buddy, you would have been 80% more successful. Would you let me give you a discount to get started again? Would you let me help you connect with one person so that you guys can be successful together? Would you do that? Right? Can we do that? And you know what? You might go to 10 old customers and the law of averages says that, in our best light, 3 are going to say yes, but then you're going to turn 3 orders into 6 because we're going to do an add one. Okay. Because we're leading with the accountability partner piece. And so I want you to understand that the way that we are going to create a more stable foundation is this way. Because here's what's going to happen. You're going to offer that to those 3 people. We're going to turn 3 orders into 6 orders. And then what's going to happen is you're going to be able to go to them and say, you don't have to, but I want you to know that if we found 2 more, you'd get to this next level and you'd make this much money. Is that something you feel like you could get excited about? Did you feel like what we did was easy enough? Right? Law of averages says that 1 person is going to do that. Well, no, 2, basically, because it was a 6 total of 6. And I want you to be offering this also, right, to the level 2, right? Or you know what I mean? That person's accountability partner, we want them to have an accountability partner, and those are free. So they might sit around and go, no, fine. And I said this to Amanda, we talked about it. All we can do is offer the coffee. We can't force them to want the coffee. So all we can do, but where we have to get really good and solid, because we're not going to have a conversation we don't believe in. Have you ever noticed that when you believe in something, you run like a freaking bull at it? You're like, you know me, I'm like, the government's corrupt. Okay, like we know I'm running at you with it because that's how I feel. I'm like, they're all on the same team. Anyway, I mean, and I just were talking about that. But like whatever you believe wholeheartedly in, your faith, think about how you run at a conversation that you fully believe in, or whatever it is, your favorite sports team, or maybe a cause is really important to you. When your belief is solid, you're kind of okay with someone not being on your team, right? A little bit. You're like, no, this is how I feel. This is important. I want you to get that way about Add One. So the burden is on you to analyze where you're feeling it's not secure for you with that conversation, or why you're hesitating, or if you need new verbiage or whatever. I want you to get with somebody who loves you, encourages you on a regular basis, get with a sideline, get with anybody and walk through that conversation. Because if you knew that somebody was going to be 80% more successful if we put our ego in the back seat and figured out how to have a conversation about something that's new, you would do it, right? What if I said to you, like 2 out of 10 are only going to be successful if you don't have this conversation? That's bad. That's bad. Like 20% is not a good number. Okay. Like, well, for some things it is, but not for this. Okay. We want 80% of your people to have the opportunity to be successful on these products. That's what it looks like. For every 100, what if you retained 80 just by this method and actually turned 80 orders into 160 orders? Where would your business be? Feel me? That's multiplication. We love that. Okay. I don't do like, complicated math, but I'm good at that kind, right? Turning one into two. That's what we need to do. So I want you to really think about how we're going to lead this add one conversation and retention conversation. We're leading with the add one, but here's the other thing. My team knows this. Shannon, you're on the page. Julie, you're on the page. Um, we have that roadmap. And the roadmap, I want you to use it if you want to use it. You're happy, the really the only thing that it is like about our team is the welcome video. Like it's just me. So I think that that's really all it is. So if you want to use it, please use it. And I think we have a template if you want to do your own. And that goes for anybody on my team. Amanda, if you want to do, your own video for the roadmap, Janelle can throw it in there and then you can have yours, right? This isn't a control thing where I need them to get my welcome video. This is just a popping off a thing of like, okay, well, everyone knows her. Okay, like so whoever comes in or wherever they come in, we've got that. But maybe that could get exciting. But here's the thing I love about the roadmap. It gives you a talking point when someone gets started and be like, hey, this document right here. And first, we're going to have you lead yourself well, and you're going to have to go through it and you're going to have to know the document. This is not going to take a long time. Okay, you guys are smart. This is going to take you 45 seconds to scan through it, right? Maybe 3 minutes total to click on all of the icons. This is not hard, okay? But you're going to lead yourself well because you want to know what you're sending to your people. And then, and I'm going to let you weave it in. I think if you're in my project broadcast, they probably get it, but it's more impactful for them to get it from their sponsor. Always, they get it twice, whatever, okay? But the reason it's impactful and knowing what's in it, if they're like, if you're like bring up, perks and they're like, I don't know anything about perks. Well, duh, yes, they do. But because you've said it, but they don't remember, right? You're like, oh my gosh, it's on that roadmap. Do you have that roadmap I sent you? And it ties you back into a resource. We want resources to do the heavy lifting. Okay. And that includes our corporate calls and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to get there. We want our resources to do the heavy lifting, right? You want to be able to fall back on that document. The next thing is, and I shared this and I don't have access to it right now, but I shared this while we were on the boat, is there was a retention document. I don't know what it was called, but I kind of shared it. I guess Janelle has told me that she created that, but we got it from someone there, or Brittany Howard shared it or whatever. Yeah, because there was a QR code. Anyway, whatever. It doesn't matter who created it. But if you feel like you'd like a resource about that retention piece, meaning this is going to give you guidance on here's the conversation I have today. Here's the conversation I have today. We have that for you. Okay. So if you want more in 2025, we've got to start utilizing these resources and using them and creating discipline around them. Okay. Retention has a lot to do with you being consistent, right? And it's just opening up the conversation and inviting them to the next thing, right? You have plenty of people that you've not invited to the next thing. And I know that because I have plenty of people I've invited to the next thing. And this is my idea. Okay. So if I've got people on the list, I know you do too. So, I can go into my virtual office and be like, okay, somebody's name, I don't know, Kristen. Okay, you know what? I am going to natural next step Kristen. I'm gonna think about her from a standpoint of like, this is still a relational business. I don't want you, I know we have the worksheet of like what to do, but you have to make it your own on some level. Okay. Like maybe that Kristen has PCOS or everyone in her freaking family has diabetes. Well, you're going to go to Kristen and be like, Kristen, I did not realize how important it is for me to get you an accountability partner because you're going to be 80% more successful. And I know you want to bring your A1C down, and that's important to me. And I know your family deals with this, and I want us to talk to one of your family members today about joining you in this. Who are we going to talk to? Okay. That's natural next step, right? Natural next step with her is be like, oh my God, I saw this testimony. It's easy, guys. This is not rocket science. It's just being a good friend, right? It's just thinking of them, having the list out in front of you, doing this once a month, especially your established customers, okay? When you're supporting them on the products, we know we're not just following up with them once a month. You guys, I already know that you know that. You're getting them on the products. You've got your own schedule with that. Okay. But I'm talking about when they're established. You've got to be inviting them to something every single month. And that can look like the call, right? You know, they've been on the products for like 3 months and they're happy and you go to them and you're going to be like, "Hey, I know that we talked about this at the beginning. I don't know how you feel about this, but I actually have a recording of my friend, my actual friend, walking through this on a corporate call. And guys, you don't have to use mine. This is just an example. Just take a recording. Or if it's close to the next Monday night, get them on the call, right? But really, what it's about is exposing them to more of these resources, exposing them to other people in the company, exposing them to this experience. It's also when someone says yes to you, it is a reaffirmation of their commitment. That's why open-ended questions, which I will not get on my soapbox with that, but we know how I feel. If I could run away with open-ended questions, I would and elope, and we would because they're everything. Okay. And they're super duper important. Right. So again, when you can ask somebody an open-ended question and they can respond to you, they're recommitting to the conversation and they don't know that, but you know that. So sometimes when you giving them information, you're like, "Hey, does this look okay? Okay. Oh, I'll touch base with you on Wednesday. That sounds good. Is that okay? Is that still okay with you?" Right? Oh yeah, right? Their brain is saying, "I'm committing to this." Right? Even if you, and how many times before you've been in Plexus, before we've understood the importance of this, before we know anything about closing, how many times did you let a conversation go to die? And you're like, "I never heard back." Yeah, it's because you stuck it in the graveyard with "let me know." I mean, we all did it. It's not, I'm not, you know what I mean? I've just had more conversations, like I've just studied this and I've noticed that our close ratio as a team got better when we started asking for participation in these conversations. Period. End of story. So a lot of, again, learn the roadmap. If you look at the roadmap, this is the thing is, this is your business. If you look at the roadmap and you're like, "I hate it. I hate it. I think it's ugly." Okay, whatever. Don't use it. But that's no excuse not to have a retention protocol. And I like the roadmap because it's just like a repository of information. Like if they have it and they're like, "I'm interested in the referral program," or whatever, or you give them an assignment. Maybe you're a former teacher, Dawn, and Shannon, and you're like, "Hey, okay, so I've got a little assignment for you. I want you to just kind of go through and click through some of these things and tell me when you're done because I want to know what you think about this." It's going to take them 5 seconds. Okay. If they watch the video, that's what's going to take them the longest. I mean, truly, because it's like I don't know how long it is. But like if they're just clicking through the icons and then, "Hey, let me know when you're done because I want to know what your favorite, what you learned." Right. And you could say something funny like, "This is the only assignment I'm going to give you." It's probably not, but just get them to do it. Okay. You don't know. So, another strategy I wanted to give you guys, and this is what Amanda and I just talked about, is have a game plan when you're reaching out to customers. Now, putting a pin in this because obviously we have something else to talk to them about with the incentive. So I don't know if you're planning to talk to all of your VIPs about the incentive planning. My advice is add one. Add one is like a toe in the water. It's the first toe in the water. If they buck back on, they're going to be 80% more successful to have to have a buddy. I'm not making decisions for anybody, but I'm not sure they're ready to add 6 for an iPad. Okay. So now, again, natural next step. I never had this conversation with you. I didn't know that you were going to be 80% more successful having that conversation. But when you're doing natural VIP check-ins, I want you to have a game plan product that you're going to introduce to them. Okay. Checking in on them. How are you doing? How you been feeling? Whatever. They're like, "Oh, I feel so good." And you're like, "Oh, this is so awesome. I thought of you and I wanted to make sure." And this also goes for if they're not having the best results, having that game plan product and let it be something that you naturally love, that you're passionate about, that you're loving, right? That makes it easier to sell. Have you noticed? You love Plexus. It's so easy for you to offer Plexus rather than some other brand. Duh. Um, okay, so what you want to do is have a game plan. Maybe it's Iron Woman. Okay, maybe you love Iron Woman and you're like, "Girl, I got to tell you what, I want to check on you. Even now that I know that you're not like having your best, having your best experience, can I change something up? Because I've just recently gotten passionate about XYZ. And I feel like this would be perfect for you. You said you had low energy. You said you're struggling with this, whatever. And guys, talk to them like you would talk to them in person, even if you're voice clipping them, right? Take the weirdness out of it. Put your ego in the back seat because these people just want to be your friend. They don't want to feel like you're selling to them. They want to feel like you're taking care of them. And I know when someone comes to me and they're like, hey, I saw this product, don't feel like you have to, but you've been telling me that your thyroid numbers are way off and our X Factor Plus, girl, it's good for that. Like I really feel like you can add that to your regimen or let's change things up so where you can substitute in like what do you think? Right? So now you've opened up the conversation by adding value. Okay. And then even better is if they say, well, I'd love to, but girl, I'm paying a lot right now. And you're like, yeah, well, also guess what? I never had you get your accountability partner. So when you get your accountability partner, you're going to make exactly the money back to add in this new product anyway. So you get to try it for free the first month. Like, who can we talk to? Do you see what I'm saying? So it's just again natural next steps and having that best um just having the best in mind for them, right? We feel when someone loves us, really. When I took my emotional connection to the yes or the no out of this, people feel if you're like, okay, that's fine. Oh my God, 100%. Like, yeah, you don't have to do this, but girl, like, this only makes sense. You 80% more successful, and we can get you the product for free basically because you're going to earn over the amount of the product. So you can try it for a month, and if you don't like it, drop it, right? But I think you're going to love it because I saw a testimony about somebody with Hashimoto's, and I immediately thought of you, and I came up with this idea, right? Talking to them like you would if you were sitting on a bar stool next to them on a park bench, taking a walk. You're just like, oh my God, I saw these jeans. These jeans are for you, girl. Oh my gosh, right? Taking that natural approach to the way that we conversate and not making it weird. Our ego goes in the back seat. Actually, it's better if it's in the trunk, locked. Because if our ego is not a part of this, we would be all being way more successful because we would literally be natural next stepping and offering without worry about how our worth or our validity is tied into any of it. So the work and how we're going to fall in love with the process is by challenging ego, right? Why am I holding back on this conversation right now? Well, it's because I'm worried about my neighbor, thinking I'm a weirdo and thinking I want to sell her something. Okay, well, let's challenge it. Do I want her to be successful? Yes. Do I happen to know how she can be successful with the products? Yes. Okay. I'm looking at people on this screen. Everybody's been on a Plexus trip before. And I want you to use the fuel of the trip that you've been on. And I want you to put your ego in the trunk and talk to people about the culture of this company. It doesn't matter if Susan from high school thinks that you suck. She thought that before you offered her Plexus. I just want you to know. She was talking about your bangs before. Okay. Just want you to know. Right. So abandon the need to be accepted so that you can be in service. Because if you offer the company to 20 people and one person changes their own life, one person pays for their mortgage, one person's marriage is saved because they're not fighting about money, it is worth it. Because we walk as servants in this. I feel it. I know it. God is here with us. I know it. Right? When I started learning about these products and I started learning about the evils of leaky gut and where it came from, Monsanto, and all the things, I knew that God was right here. Like truly, like seriously. So all that to say, have a game plan when you're checking in. Obviously, we have a couple different approaches. The approach I want you to take first is add one, right? Be willing to fall on the sword. Remember, ego is in the trunk. Girl, I didn't even know that 80% of people were more successful with this, having somebody. I know you mentioned your mom. Like, is she like, let's talk to her. Let's do it with her. Like, let's have you do it with her. I mean, you have to, it's not a copy paste. I think sometimes people struggle because they want something faster. They want it to be faster. But if you fall in love with the process and love each person well in the moment, you will be more successful. And that is actually the cheat code, right? That's the cheat code. Okay. All right. So offering the product. So first is going to be the add one. Then we're going to, next month when you're doing check-ins, try the product thing, right? Again, we're just invitations. We're just doing this. We have an offer right now that feels big and we want to get those offers out as quickly as we can, right? So you want to be using the iPad, you want to be using the Apple Watch, you want to be using the red light mask. I keep leaving out the red light mask because I don't know, but people will want it. So yeah. So again, I am going to commit that I'm going to be doing each day, I'm going to be doing little snippets of what we need to be working on. Okay. I have to get my brain organized. Yeah, right. But I have to figure out what that's going to look like, how that's going to enter into my daily routine. Um, and then I want to have a weekly checklist. And I think between those two things, if you guys can commit to it, you're going to be uber successful in this because you're going to know impactful things. How many times do you look at some of those big worksheets and you're like, this feels like a lot right now? We don't want that. We don't want it to feel like a lot. Okay. We don't want that because if you feel like it's a lot, you don't do it. Have you noticed? And you don't even have to tell me you don't do it. I know. I know. Because it's like, oh, this feels scary. Oh, I don't have 2 hours. And the thing is also is I want you to challenge that thought of how long it's going to take because normally it takes like 15 minutes. Okay. So just knowing that, right? Having a weekly checklist, and then having that daily to-dos of what we can do. But again, retention really starts with utilizing the resources that corporate has for us. They're doing a lot of the hard work and we need to be utilizing these. And like, I feel like so many of you have heard me say, like, the Thursday night call is a great invitation for VIPs that are like on triplex or thinking about gut health. It's 15 minutes. Let the company do it for you. Let the company do it for you. Here's what we know about our culture, our team is we do three-way messages. I don't want to wait for the call unless it's that day and you get a potential and you're like, hey, come to this tonight, right? Or you can't talk to them right then. I love three-way messages. You guys know this because we're good at them. We close fast. We know how to do this. We know how to call for the sale. So I like it as a different approach. Now, if you love those calls, if you like those calls, feel free to use those calls for potentials. But sometimes I feel like it wastes time unless we're doing a same day invitation or a next day invitation, right? Hey, I know you're kind of on the fence about this. Would you want to come and watch this? I'm going to be there. It's 15 minutes and I'd love to hear what you have to say. Right. And especially another thing is your new business builders, right? If somebody comes on board and they're like, I'm open to this. Okay, well, you need to go to Thursday. I need you to at least register for Thursday. I want you to watch it and then we're going to talk about it because I need you to know what you're selling and who you're representing because we're the best of the best. We have no competition. And again, this goes back to belief. I want you to utilize your own belief, build your own belief. It's super important because it gives you the opportunity to let others' opinions come and go more easily when you know they're wrong. Try it. Try it. It's really fun. Okay. So that's all I've got. Like I said, I'm going to focus on the kind of daily little things we need to work on. I'm going to be focusing on just a weekly checklist. I have that checklist that I just made. I feel like I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing, but we've got a couple things. I'll offer it. But my idea for you guys is like have weekly things that you're going to be doing, which is some of these conversations of getting people into the calls, right? The daily kind of challenges or call to action, those include, hey, I want 3 people. I want you to have 3 people going to Monday. I want you to have three when you might not get it the first day. And you're going to have way more conversations than three, okay, to get 3 people there. And if you try your best and you have these conversations and you only get two, that's two more than you would have had. Okay. But we're not doing low ball energy in 2025. We're shooting for more invitations. Okay. We're shooting for more exposures. The company is working really, really hard to bring the A game, and we need to participate as people utilizing these resources, right? We have to show them thank you. Okay, by doing this and focusing on it for us, because guess they're reacting to what we've asked for. And that's the thing, is they're really, really, really good at being aware and listening to us now. And so I want us to be utilizing these. Okay. And just so you guys know, I think you do, but if you have a Spanish speaking person, there's a Wednesday call for them. Okay. I don't think we're doing that, but I just wanted to mention that. Okay. Yay. All right. I'm going to stop recording.